Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. For today's episode, we're going to be entering the world of social skills, and we're going to be discussing whether or not you can change your personality. You ever heard about the Myers-Briggs Exam? I'm sure you have. And if you've never heard about this exam before, it's one of these tests where you get an understanding of what your personality type is. You can go on Google right now and type in the test, and you can take a lot of these free exams just to get an idea of where you stand. I remember I first heard about this exam a few years back when my company was sending me to New Jersey just to get trained. And the first week of training, I remember they introduced us to this exam. Our trainer's like, listen, this exam is very important because it's going to tell us what kind of personality type you have. And once you know your personality type, you can become a better communicator. I was a little hesitant at first, but I took the test anyways. I opened the little booklet, and there were a lot of personal questions being asked. I answered each one by one, very honestly. And eventually, I got back my score. I think I was in ESTJ at that time. And the trainer was basically saying, you see these letters that you've got? These letters have thus far dictated your past, and guess what? These letters will also dictate your future. She was basically trying to tell me that the personality that we have is fixed. And as I was hearing her talk, I could tell that she was completely full of shit. I could tell that. Why? Because multiple times in my life, I was able to change my personality. I remember when I was in high school, I was predominantly an introvert. By the time I was in college, I was predominantly an extrovert. And there were multiple other times in my life where I was able to switch my personalities. But I get it. It happened to me. I don't know if it can happen to other people. So at that time, I was very, very aware of other people as well. And I started to see other people as well change their personality types, whether they were aware or not. There was this one kid named Tim. Picture one of the most introverted kids you can imagine. With Tim, if you had coffee with him for 30 minutes, he'd need to recharge for 4 to 5 hours after that coffee break. Just you and him. But earlier this year, I remember Tim ended up getting married. And by the time we went to his wedding, we were partying, we were having a really fun time. And we partied all the way up until 5 in the morning. By the time it was 5 in the morning, myself and the rest of the friends, we were ready to go to sleep. But not Tim. Tim still wanted to keep on partying. Up until that moment, Tim may have been an introvert, but on his wedding night, that boy was definitely an extrovert. But wait, I got another story. Another story is when I was working in my old company, and there was this fellow named Dennis. Dennis was, I would say, in his late 50s or so. And I remember a lot of times when Dennis and we would go to eat, he would always talk about his glory days in college. The dude was a frat star. He would go to parties. He would host a lot of parties. He was a pure extrovert. But nowadays, if you were to ask him, what is he? He's in his late 50s. He has a corporate job. He's married. He has kids. He has grandkids. Nowadays, he identifies more as an introvert. So myself, Tim, Dennis, 3 instances where personalities changed. I'm not buying that personalities are fixed. Just not buying it. So Armani, you're telling me that people are able to change their personalities? How come more people don't change it? More people don't change it because they're behaving in a very subconscious level. There's a thing that I call the social personality loop. And this is when your internal beliefs are creating external behaviors, and external behaviors are reinforcing those internal beliefs. So just imagine this. Imagine if you currently view yourself as an introvert. That's a belief that you have. Well, a lot of times, say you go to an event, you're there for a while, that belief is going to create subconscious behaviors where you're thinking, I've been in this party for a really long time. I'm getting pretty drained. I need to go home. So you go home. That's the external behavior. And that external behavior is going to reinforce for the next time that you are an introvert. And it's just going to carry on and on and on. It's a little loop. And most people have this loop on a very subconscious level. They have no clue that they're even doing it. They just say, well, this is my personality. This is how I was born. So, Armani, how do I break out of this loop? You break out of this loop by simply making yourself aware that the loop exists in the first place. By the time you make yourself aware, you stop. Okay, you stop, and now you're able to detach yourself away from this loop. And rather than being a participant to the loop, you now become an observer from afar. You see your behaviors from a third-party perspective. This is huge. Okay, this is huge because once you become that observer, you get to choose how you want your personality type to be. This video alone, this video alone is possibly making you it's making you think in very, very different ways. Because number one, there's this guy telling you that, your personality can be changed. Something that you're not used to hearing. Your entire life, you've been told your personality is fixed. Now this guy is telling you that your personality can change. You don't even have to agree with me. The fact that I'm at least telling you this is at least making you aware of your moves. Okay, it's making you aware. And once you become aware, now you can observe from afar. That's where we want you to get to. Okay, we want you to start observing your moves. Once you start taking on the role as an observer, you can really appreciate the Myers-Briggs Test for what it is. Listen, I don't hate the Myers-Briggs Test. I think it's very, very useful, but only if you start viewing it as a tool rather than an end-all be-all. So most people, they sort of just see it like this. Well, this is my results and this is how my life is sentenced to these results. While if you're an observer, you start viewing the test results as a dial. What does this mean? So imagine you go to the gym to get your body fat percentage measured and the guy tells you you're at 25% body fat. Well, right now you're at 25% body fat. That doesn't mean that you're gonna die at 25% body fat. If you eat like a fat ass, then you'll bump it up. If you go on a diet and you start working out, then you'll lower it. But rather than now viewing it as, oh, I'm at 25% body fat, this is a sentence, this is a life sentence, you start viewing it as a dial. Once you start viewing it as a dial, you start holding yourself much more accountable because you realize if you alter your behaviors, you can alter your body fat percentage. Same with the Myers-Briggs test. Myers-Briggs test right now is telling you where you are at. Now analyze where you want to be in the future. Envision that personality type and then adjust the dial as necessary. All right, Armani, I'm sold. How do I change my personality type? Well, for me, I was able to change it through a lot of hard work, but I didn't even know I was working hard at the time. I remember going from high school as an introvert to an extrovert to college. It just sort of happened because I was taking up new club roles. I was doing more leadership positions. I was basically forced to be an extrovert. I don't want you to just aimlessly go about it. I want to give you an easy two-step formula that is going to really, really help you out. And for this two-step formula, we're going to leverage the Myers-Briggs test. So go on and take the Myers-Briggs test. Get your results. That's step one. Take the test and get your results. You have your results, you'll be given 4 letters. For part 2, I want you to do the exact opposite of those 4 letters. Exact opposite. So if you're an introvert right now, I want you to act like an extrovert. Wait a minute, Armani, that's going to make me very, very uncomfortable. Yeah, but when you go to the gym, what happens when you're lifting weight? You feel very, very uncomfortable. But why do you do it? You do it because you understand the discomfort is going to lead to growth for your muscles, and ultimately, you're going to come out a stronger person. Same with your personality type. You have to put yourself in a state of discomfort so you can strengthen your internal world, get some new beliefs, and change your behavior for the external world. So take it step by step, okay? I don't want you to go from an extrovert to an introvert for the rest of your life. I just want you to try it out for a week and take it on incremental steps. Take it letter by letter. So first, experiment with the first letter. If you're assigned an introvert, try being an extrovert for a week. Once you try that, try the next one. Instead of being a sensing kind of person, try being an intuition kind of person. Instead of being a thinker, try being a judger. You get the point. But ultimately, get the test score, do the exact opposite, and break it piece by piece. each time that you're making yourself very uncomfortable, each time you're getting your personality to become more and more dynamic. You want to know a little secret? Most people in this real world, they have ice cube personalities. Ice cube, very rigid, very stuck in its own ways, very structured. While if you're applying the tips I'm giving you in this video, you start melting the ice cube and you become more water-like, more fluid. You're able to keep your message, but you're able to change your delivery whenever you need. And a person who's socially dynamic has more social opportunities, way more social opportunities than someone who's like, oh, well, I can't change. Of course you can change. You can change anytime you want to. Ultimately, your goal is to become very ambiverted, a guy that has extroverted and introverted-like tendencies, and you want to be able to decide which personality types call for the right experiences. And the only way you're going to do this is by doing the methods that I gave you, really building up your social experiences, and then using your instincts. Because once you have these social experiences, you're going to build your social awareness. And once you have the social awareness, it's going to become second nature, aka instinct. I mean, for me nowadays, there are certain times when I know I need to be more introverted, and there are certain times I need to be more extroverted. I'm typically a little bit more introverted when I'm reflecting, when I'm thinking, when I'm journaling, when I'm creating ideas. I'm typically more extroverted when I'm in social situations, when I'm speaking in front of the camera, doing YouTube videos, when I'm giving speeches. But that's what works for me in my personal life. You have to understand what works for you. So just to reiterate, yes, your personality can change anytime you want it to change. You just have to understand how you want it to change. How do you make it alter? Well, number one, do the Armani formula, which is take the Myers-Briggs test, and then two, do all the opposite of the letters that you were given and break it down into incremental steps. You keep doing this week by week, and ultimately you will come back a brand new person. And you'll realize that this whole limiting belief has been shattered. Your personality was able to change anytime you wanted it to change. Now that you're aware with this video, go on and make some moves. If this video helped you and you love groundbreaking insights like this into the social world, then you will love my free daily newsletter. Every day at 7 p.m., I drop innovative insights into the world of public speaking, social skills, personal branding, all tips in story format to help you become a better communicator. I did mention it's free, right? Every day, 7 p.m. To join, go on over to the description box, hit that link, and join the Level Up Tribe. Welcome. With that being said, thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube episode. And if this helps you, make sure you drop a like for me so other people can see it as well. I'll catch you next time.